Monday night, 8 o'clock. You know what that means. Yes, yes, yes. I know you've been waiting all week for me to come back and entertain you, and I'm glad you could join me tonight because I have such a special show. I can't wait to introduce my guest. So usually I talk about my weekend, and there's not much going on these days. You know, my husband and I go shopping 6 o'clock in the morning, in, out, try to come home. Still no paper products here in New York. But, you know, that's the extent of my weekend. We actually, Saturday, we de-winterized the backyard. We started getting it all ready because it was a whopping 62 degrees out and sunny. Woohoo! So I'm excited that we got that done because now if I want to really get out of the house, I can go in the backyard at least and see, you know, a different scenery. But listen, let's get to it because, you know, my hour goes fast. I'm here with this funny, talented, legendary Bobby freaking Collins.
Hi, Theresa.
Oh.
How are you? I lost you.
You lost me.
Oh, there you are.
Listen, I am so happy to see you. I saw you a while ago at Governor's Comedy Club. And, you know, listen, I'm a comic from the 90s. I stopped for a little bit when I had my daughter, returned back to comedy 4 years ago. I've been a fan of yours forever. And then I got to see you in person. I'm glad I wore my Depends that night because I definitely piddled myself. Okay.
Listen to you.
And it was an amazing night, and you're so sweet and so humble, and you stay at the end and you meet people. And I bought this wonderful, wonderful, wonderful book of yours called On the Inside. I know it's backwards on camera, but it's called On the Inside. It's a must read. I didn't like it. I love this book. Love it. It's just old school, common friggin' sense.
The way I was brought up.
That's it. And we're going to talk about how you were brought up. You're a kid who, you're fellow Virgo like me, right? September
21st.
Yes, I'm the 6th. And we both grew up in Queens.
Unbelievable.
We both moved to Long Island. You had very hardworking parents that instilled very strong values in you. You know what I mean?
When you're poor, you learn things quick.
You know, and it's true. And you don't know you're poor. You don't know you're poor because everything is great and everything's fabulous, and you don't know really.
Right.
You know, you hang out with other kids, and then you realize, okay, I don't have the Pumas and the Nikes. I got my Pro Keds, or you know, can't have Jordache or Sergio Valente. I've got my Levi's. You know, but you know, were raised.
Now look at us. Now I have Lysol under my armpit and an LED light up my ass. Crazy world.
But you grew up in Queens.
Yes.
And you went to school in Queens. You moved to Long Island when you were about 13, right?
Yeah, I moved to New Hyde Park.
Yeah, New Hyde Park.
And I remember when we moved there, everything that we were learning that first year, we had learned already in the grade before in Queens. So I was like, ooh, this is interesting. I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
Yeah, because city schools are more advanced. They are. They're more advanced. Right. They really are. But, you know, you grew up and I don't know when, you have to tell me when you decided you wanted to become a comic, because I know your dad was a very hardworking man and he instilled, you know, hardworking values in you. And you had a plethora of different jobs before you know, hit him on the head and say, guess what? I want to do comedy. You worked in the garment industry. Tell me about that.
I was, you're coming up. I didn't know when I was a little boy, somebody had said to me to write a list, make a list of 3 things if you could close your eyes and want to be. And I said, really? Because I didn't know, is that how it works? I don't know. So I said, okay. So I wrote down airline pilot. Mm-hmm. I wrote down shirt designer because I saw men's shirts. Remember, I grew up looking on the subways and you see people, the guys didn't wear good shirts. So, and the third thing was, which I thought I'd never be, was a comedian.
A comedian.
I even had to raise my hand and ask the teacher, how do I spell it? True story.
And how long have you been a comedian now, Bobby, in this industry, this crazy industry?
40 years.
40 years.
Yeah, and it's a dream come true, and I would do it all over again. It was I mean, we don't have a blueprint when you come out to be a comic. It's usually a doctor, lawyer, teacher, and I was a teacher. But I always said, wow, if I'm going to keep my eye on the donut, I'm going to be a
donut, not the hole.
Right. Keep your eye on the donut, not the hole. You're
Well, I have so much I want to talk about. I don't want to jump around too much, but you also promised yourself that when you had money, you were going to buy yourself a beautiful pair of leather shoes.
Well, because I used to see the guys, Theresa, that's funny you said that. I used to see the guys on the subways and the rich guys, the ones that got on quick or got off 2 steps later. And I'd always look down at their shoes. But I learned a lot because I could look into people's eyes as a little kid going to school. And I could look in their eyes and see, wow, look at this guy. He's putting it on that he's this and that when he's not. Why do people do that? That's how when you learn to look in rather than at. And I remember looking at all the real people that had money, had nice clothes and the shoes. And I said, one day I'm going to have a nice pair of leather shoes. And I remember when I went to Italy on a trip and I bought like a couple of pair of leather shoes and I still have them.
Did you have them made to order? I'm only asking because when my sister-in-law went to Italy with my brother, she had a pair of beautiful leather sandals actually custom made for her foot.
No, I didn't have them made. No? I'm still in New York. Let me try them on. It's a little loose.
Yeah, I want to see how they fit and feel. Right, and when you worked in the garment industry, you worked for Calvin Klein?
Yeah, matter of fact, I was selling jewelry. A friend of mine, a pretty wealthy friend, he was going door to door in the garment center and a lot of places with a case of gold jewelry. That was when the women used to wear, I don't know if you remember, you're much younger than me. But
not much, but I'm
when the women used to wear 3 chains on their bracelets, on the thing. Yeah. So I used to see him walk around and I go, where do you go? And he goes, Bobby, I need help. Would you want to do this? And I go, let me. And I started to do it. And he taught me how. I'd go to the garment center on 47th Street, pick up my gold. Mm-hmm. I went to the garment center though. And when I was at the garment center, Bobby's going to be in showroom number 3, the jewelry guy, and I'd have my stuff set up. I made a lot of money. Yeah. And I loved it. And then one day, Calvin Klein's assistant, came in and he said, he stopped me and I was packing things up and he said, hey, listen, I said, no problem. I go, here's my card. I kick back 10% to your Christmas party, and then I go, he goes, no, we want to talk to you about a job. And in my head, I was like, do this, the garment thing, stand in front of people and show them lines. I go like this, people buy people. They don't buy the clothing. You know what I mean? So I said, I don't think it's for me. And he says, no, come on in. And he had a Lazy Susan. Remember those things that?
Yeah, my mother had one. We had one.
You remember? And he put a price thing on, and I'm sitting there talking to him, and he spun it around, and he said, that's what we'll offer you the first year. And I looked down, and it said $63,000. Wow. And I was making maybe with the jewelry 50, right. And maybe 45, 50 hustling.
Yeah.
And I looked at, and all the kids that were graduating college, and I did it the year before, they were making like 25.
Yeah, I was going to say that was big bucks back then.
I know. And I said to him, I go, when would I start? This was a Wednesday. He goes, Friday. I said, okay, let's do it.
All right.
And
the weekend off. Okay.
But I was doing stand-up comedy at night at Catch a Rising Star and the Improv and Good Times. And when they'd all come in, they'd have these things called Market Week. And when they came in, I would say to all them, Macy's from Chicago, there'd be 12 people, women. And I go, what do you guys do at night? They go, we just going to write up our orders, because they were afraid of New York. They had no place to go. They'd probably eat in and then just go to bed, write up their orders. So I said, Well, I do stand-up comedy, and I'm over at Catch a Rising Star. They would jam in. And my orders got so big that after 6 months, they called me in, the president, and he says, we're going to make you executive vice president. I said, you have 6 of them. He goes, I go, does it mean more money? He went, yeah. I go, then you can call me emperor. And a guy came over to me, not about a year ago, who worked for Calvin Klein, and he remembered that when I said that. He said, you even said, then why don't you make me emperor? Call me emperor. Because I only did it for maybe a year tops, and I hated it. Then I went full-time doing comedy.
Yeah, I was going to say, you made a decision. You made a decision to, go full-time in comedy. And as you know, that it's scary to, when you're relying on a salary and something coming in all the time, and then say, okay, I'm going to, push that to the side.
Take your foot off base and jump. Most people stay safe. Don't stay safe. Life's too short.
I know. We're all learning that now. So you were at Catch, you were at Improv, but you made Caroline's your home. Actually, you were at Caroline's for many, many, many years.
Yes. But I started at a little club on 30th Street. Excuse me. I started on 30th Street called Good Times. Matter of fact, what's his name? Jerry Seinfeld and George Wallace. We were talking about that the other day. And Rick Newman, who ran Catch a Rising Star and owned it, he was in there talking to Rico, who owned Good Times. And they watched me, and he called me over to his table. He goes, hey, how would you like to come work at my club? I'm looking for a new MC, and everyone seems to like you. And I go, what club is that? He goes, Catch a Rising Star. I went, yes, please.
Yeah.
And I went over there like the next night.
Wow.
And, what was her name? I forgot her name. She was the MC. Bill Maher was another MC. And I started emceeing.
That's amazing. It's amazing. Listen, we have to take a quick break and hear from my sponsors. Don't go away, everyone, because we're going to come right back with Bobby Collins. Don't go away.
Today's show is brought to you in part by Tavolo Kitchen and Pizza, located at 1919 Wantaw Avenue in Wantaw. Hey, there's something for every night of the week. Tuesdays, pasta night. Wine Wednesdays. Friday, live music from 7 to 10. Sunday, brunch. So check them out at 516-308-4892 or www.tavolokitchen.com. They're also on Instagram. They do catering and private parties. So where do you want to go tonight?
Are you bored?
Oh my God!
Hold on tight. We're gonna coast this.
Ron.
I'm so glad you tuned in tonight. I'm with Bobby Collins. I mean, the man, the myth, the legend, the author of On the Inside. Everyone, this is. I couldn't put it down, and it's old school. It reminded me of growing up and just values and street smarts and common sense, which people are losing today. And how, raising your kids and I grew up with the wooden spoon. You know what I'm saying? Can't do that today, though, Bobby. But in this book, what I like about the book is that in each chapter, you kind of have a quote, okay? And a couple of my favorite quotes. One is, if you don't miss it, don't miss what you never had. Right?
Most people get caught up, and that's usually most people get caught up into money. I was brought up, if you don't have it, don't worry about it, because it's just something that if it comes your way, for the type of person you are, it should come your way.
Well, I'll tell you the truth. My father he raised us. My father was one of 7, very poor, very poor. He used to tell me the story where he would go to the store and buy a paper bag for a penny. and they would go outside the supermarket or go somewhere else and sell them for 2 cents. Then they'd run back in and buy 2 bags and come back out and sell them. And he would do that all day until he got like, I don't know, 10 cents to go to the movies all day, you know, back then. But, you know, he always said to me, if you don't have the cash, don't buy it.
I still tell my daughters that. I was telling her that, you know, out here in California, they are very like the privileged people. And I wasn't brought up like that. And we have a nice home and all that. But I always tell my daughter, are you out of your mind? You owe money on a credit card? Do you know they charge you all the time interest? I go, if you don't have it, you don't buy it. Exactly.
They're legal loan sharks.
Right.
That's the percentage that they charge is ridiculous. It's crazy. But, you know, I have a 22-year-old myself, and I tell her the same thing. You know, if you don't have it, don't buy it. Plastic is evil. Seriously.
How many kids you got, Theresa?
I only have one from my first husband. It's him in drag. It's him with the vagina. Like I had nothing to do with it. Unfortunately, she was quarantining. She kept going back and forth from my house to the boyfriend's house, going back and forth. I said, listen, pick a house. Just pick a house.
Right.
And she's working, you know, they're allowing her to work from home, but she's there quarantining with him. So, you know, my mother growing up, you know, you had hand-me-downs. I had my sister. I was the oldest. I was lucky. I got to wear it first. My mother would send me to Woolworth to go get a pattern, and she'd make the clothes, and then I
know Woolworths. I know it well.
My sister, you went to John's Bargain Store, right?
John's Bargain Stores. Matter of fact, that when the phone rang, I used to say John's Bargain Stores Monday, Thursday, and Friday. Buy that, and if we didn't know. I was talking to my sister recently. My sister's like 68, and we were talking, and I said, "Do you remember what our Christmas trees used to look like?" She goes, I didn't even know they were trees. They were more like little bushes. And I go, yeah, but Mom made them up nice for us, didn't she? She goes, she made it special, magical. And that's what we want.
You know, that's the whole thing. You know, it's not, like you said, it's not, look, I know love doesn't pay the rent, okay? Right. I know that you need money to survive, but it's not, you need your health. First of all, you can have all the money in the world. If you don't have your health, you have nothing. And it's all about family and being together. You know what I'm saying?
People are learning that now more than ever, aren't they?
They are, because think about before this pandemic that was going on, how many times did I hear comics and people in the entertainment industry, or even my brother or my sister, oh, you know, I wish we had a 4-day work week, or you know, I just, you know, all these hours making money for someone else. I just want to be home with my family. And now I'm like saying, you know, either there's going to be a lot of babies in 9 months or a lot of divorces. And I can't get pregnant anymore, Bobby, okay? You know, I was surprised that boxed hair dye wasn't flying off the shelf as fast as toilet paper. It's crazy.
That toilet paper.
Yeah, you're home. You're home.
Toilet paper cure cancer?
I don't know. It's crazy. I mean, but you're home for the first time.
Oh.
In your comedy career, this is the longest stint that you've been home.
Ever.
With Jill and the kids. And it's
200 dates a year. And now I'm home.
Wow.
It's different. It's different. Matter of fact, you mentioned to me earlier that we do Comics for a Cause for my daughter's charity. And I have a special needs daughter. She doesn't walk very well, and she's never spoken a word. She's low functioning. But to me, she's the best. And she's the most wonderful thing. When God gives you an angel with a clipped wing, what an honor.
Well, you said at the show, you said God gives special kids to special people, and you are a special person.
Oh.
And actually, you and I connected through a mutual friend of ours, Mike Dempsey.
Mike's a good man.
Mike's a good man, and he said, Bobby's a sweetheart, give him a shout out. And I'm so glad I did. And you raise money throughout the year for a camp that
Vino Mountain Farm.
Vino Mountain Farm, and it's in Vermont.
Yes, yes.
And you also do a huge, what we call in New York, block party, right? Okay, where I don't know what they call it in LA, just shutting down a street, but we call it a block party where you get your permits and you have a huge party, right? You have live music, you have food, and you have some of the kids there actually too, right? From the camp.
A lot of them. The ones that live out here.
Right. And you have this huge thing once a year in front of your house, right?
Well, we moved it into, like, when I was down in Florida, we did it at the Boca Black Box.
Right.
It's called Comics for a Cause.
And that was your last show you did before the pandemic, right?
That was it. So they got $22,000 that night. Oh, and all the good A-list comics from Florida came down to perform. And they were so nice because we've been doing it now for 15 years. And Jay Leno, Arsenio, Chris Rock, all my friends, you pick up the phone and they go, Bobby, whatever you need, give me a date. Ray Romano, they're all great guys.
Isn't that sweet? I mean, it's such a great cause. I have a lot of friends who have children with special needs. It holds a special place in my heart. I'm always trying to do fundraisers, give back. You ever need me and I'm available, I'm there for you. I just want you to know that.
Oh, I appreciate that.
I raise money for everything from breast cancer to Crohn's and colitis and you name it, I'm there. I love giving back because, we've all had our struggles in life and we've all had our challenges. And in the book, I'm saying, I could have wrote this book. I could have, because I feel God put certain people in your path for a certain reason. I really feel that way. My girlfriend said you're like a cat with 9 lives because I've come close to dying about 5 times in my life.
You told me.
And I feel I have a purpose. He doesn't want me yet. And I got to keep doing what I do, and so do you. And I want you to tell the quick story of the camp that your brother worked at. God. And how your daughter actually ended up there for a season, right?
Well, it was kind of funny because when I was a little boy, my oldest brother, he's now retired and old. He was the head of he always grew up with my grandparents in Massachusetts.
Right.
And when we used to drive from New York City to go there, he was the head of that camp. He was like the head guy.
Right.
So we would get there and he would, even no hug, no nothing. He would go like, Bobby, grab that guy, put him on your back. And I'd put this older man on my back. I was a skinny, and I'm take him down the path. And everyone would take.
His name was Ronnie, right? Ronnie?
Yes. Was that in the book?
Yep.
And 275,000 books sold.
Woohoo, baby! We're going to sell more today.
I was carrying him down the path.
Yeah.
And my brother, I got there, and he was shaking. I don't know, he had cerebral palsy or something. I'm like 12. And I'm going, I'm going to break this guy. I'm going to break him. If I drop this guy. And we got him down there. And then fast forward 30 some odd years, and we had a special needs kid. And my daughter says, Bobby, we got to find a camp here in California. I go, no, I know the right camp to go to. It's called Zeno Mountain Farm.
Right.
And she goes, we're going to take our daughter across the country to go to it. I go, see the camp, and you won't believe it.
Right.
We went cross country, we trained this with my daughter, wheelchairs. Yeah. We get there. Yeah. I look up. There's that guy, Ronnie. He's like 72, and he's on a porch, and he looks at me. He goes, I remember you. You're Tommy Collins' brother. You're Bobby Collins. I had tears in my eyes.
It touched me when I read it. I was like, oh my God, what a moment. What a moment. Think about it.
I looked at my wife and I said, we're in the right camp. And she's been going there ever since.
Yeah. And she goes there. She goes there over the summer?
No, she goes to a summer camp by them down in, it's only a week long down in Florida.
Oh, okay.
That's why I do all my Florida gigs that's what we were down there for.
Right. You have 2 daughters. right?
Yes.
You have an older daughter who you write about in the book too, of how, Bobby, let me tell you something. My daughter was watching something stupid on TV. Okay, I don't know if it was Jersey Shore, like your daughter, or whatever it was. I said to her, "What are you watching that crap for?" I went the same thing. The same thing. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, what are you watching? What are you learning? And like she said the same thing your daughter said. Oh, they have money. They make money. And like you said, eventually the show ends. Then what do you got? It's still stupid. Right?
Would you rather be smart and poor or rich and stupid? I go for the smart and poor.
Yeah. I think because for the ones in our generation before us, we've been there. We've done that. You know what I mean? Right. The kids today have no clue. Yes, when you talk about the rotary phone on the wall and how you describe it, I just see myself walking from one end of the house to the other with that cord.
And then I walk into restaurants now, and these kids, you're looking at this 5 kids, 10 kids, and they're all on the phones. The first thing they do, and I'm going, what happened how did you guys meet? Oh, we met online. Oh my God.
There's no more interpersonal communication anymore. There just isn't. It's crazy. Hey, listen, but I got to back up real quick. Do we have to take? All right, listen, we'll go to another commercial. Don't go away, everybody, because I'm coming back with Bobby Collins, and we got a lot more to talk about. Stay tuned.
Today's show is brought to you in part by Tavolo Kitchen and Pizza, located at 1919 Wantaw Avenue in Wantaw. Hey, there's something for every night of the week. Tuesdays, pasta night, wine Wednesdays, Friday, live music from 7 to 10, Sunday brunch. So check them out at 516-308-4892 or www.tavolokitchen.com. They're also on Instagram. They do catering and private parties. So where do you want to go tonight?
Why don't we go to Coasters?
Oh, cool. I heard it's a great place. Let's check it out.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Oh my God.
I'm so glad you joined me tonight because my special guest is Bobby Collins, and I am so excited. Right before we went to break, I wanted to bring something up. Listen, you actually, I started in comedy in the early 90s, and my friends gave me comedy classes to the Learning Annex, and I studied with Richard Mincer for about 4 weeks, and at the end of the 4 weeks, you got to perform at Stand Up New York. That's how I started. But I read in this fabulous book of yours, On the Inside, you actually taught a class at the Learning Annex. And I want you to tell the story real quick because one of the students stayed after class, and he was a son of a friend of yours.
I know. That was kind of, matter of fact, I was over at my other friend's house yesterday. He's a doctor, and we still talk about that guy. His father, who was a buddy of ours growing up. He has since passed, but he says, Bobby, tell me the story about his son who came to that class. They asked me to teach a comedy class. And I said, okay, it was on a Tuesday night. And I went there, and I was only supposed to get 16 people, but they were jammed. And it was just so much fun.
Wait, $50, right? 50 bucks? 50 bucks to learn from Bobby Collins. Hello.
I started off by saying, all right, each one get up and tell me about yourself. And they would get up, and I'd have a guy tape them because a lot of them would just stand. They didn't know how to stand. And I'd say, look at yourself, rather than they were like, oh, my name is Steve and I go to school. They didn't know visually.
Like a deer in a headlight, yeah.
At the end of it, I had them each do 5 minutes. Not one person did 5 minutes. They did over 7 or 8 minutes and 10 minutes each one from doing comedy, and they loved it.
Wow. So after class, this one guy
One
stayed.
kid came over to me. He goes, "Hey, you knew my father." I go, "Who was your father?" He goes, "David Kaufman." I go, "Oh my God, you're David's," because they split up. His mom.
Yeah, they were estranged. They were estranged a little bit. David
Kaufman.
He had. Yeah.
He had a drug problem, and matter of fact, one day me and
he wanted.
What?
God, sorry. He wanted you to tell him about his dad because he was like estranged from him a little bit, right?
Right, and his dad was we were so poor, and his dad, his mother and father, and it was his stepfather they didn't have money, but they had more than most of us, and we'd go over to his house, and his mother used to feed us all the time. And he worked for a shirt company, and she'd give us shirts. We were like, "Oh my God, we're living it up now." So I moved out of the neighborhood. I ended up going to Long Island. My other friend left. He went to upstate New York. So we lost sight of David, and he ended up turning into be a junkie. But here comes his son, and I go, "Sit down. Let me tell you about your dad. How we used to eat over your house. Your grandmother used to take care of us, Dottie. She was this. She was wonderful. Your father taught us how to dance. We didn't know how to dance. No one teaches you. He knew how to dance. We danced." I go like this. "Your dad was really special." And he goes, my mother used to talk about you, and my father used to mention you." I go, "Well, your father was a special man." And I said, "What were you doing in the class?" He goes, "I think I want to be a stand-up comedian." I was like, "Do it. Take the shot."
Great. All right, listen, I have to put my glasses on for this. Don't I look studious now? I look so studious. Okay, so listen, I just want to mention, listen, you've had a 40-year career in comedy, and you've learned a lot, because there are a lot of good people out there and a lot of crappy people out there, and you write about that too in the book. But I just want to, I gotta, toot your horn for you, and I just want to let people know that you've worked and opened up and worked with and for and whatever. Dolly Parton, Tony Bennett, the Pointer Sisters, the Four Tops, Chicago, which is my husband's favorite band. He's seen them a million times. Henny Youngman, Kenny Loggins, Natalie Cole, and many more. And then on top of that, Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Jerry Lewis, Rodney Dangerfield, Johnny Carson. Holy cannoli. Talk about royal. And then, of course, you've worked with Chris Rock, Seinfeld, Kevin James, Ray Romano, Drew Carey, Tim Allen, Leno, Mandel, Eddie Murphy, Rita Rudner, George Wallace, who you just had on your show. We're going to talk about that so people could tune in to you. Gary Shanley, Anderson, Paul Reiser, Rosie O'Donnell, Carrie Pop, on and on and on. You worked with Cher. You worked with Julio Iglesias. This is beautiful. I mean, like I said, I just couldn't put down this book. I just couldn't. It was just, you sucked me into your story. That's what you did. You sucked me, and I felt like I was going through it with you. And there were certain parts, like I said, that brought me back to my childhood. And red light, green light. That was one of my favorite games to play.
Remember that? You remember choosing? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Eeny, meeny, miny. Choose it out. Choose it out. One, twice, three, shoot. One, twice. Late finger, no good. Late finger.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ringalivio.
You ever play 7-Up? Do you remember 7-Up?
Which was 7-Up?
7-Up was when you put your head down on the desk and you
finger.
With the thumb, and they had to put it down or something. I don't know. But red light, green light was like one of my favorite ever in the school playground. I was like, oh my God. I'm like, I haven't thought about that in years. So
my God.
It was just so much fun and amazing, really. I mean, but you've been, look, we talked about, there's rejection in this business, and you've talked about the ugly side of it in the book, and you talk about the good side in the book. And like you say, when I really feel when you make plans, God laughs. Okay. And
laughter is the best medicine.
He's, it's true. We have to find the funny in everything. Right now, we're all going through the same thing, and you just have to find something and laugh. Like I'm naked naked from the waist down. Well, I'm in my underwear like you were in your video that you posted, and I'm like, who's gonna
see that video?
Yeah, it's great. You posted the video. I shared it on my page, so people go to my page and look at it. You're doing a conference. You get up, you got no pants on. You're in underwear. Me, I've been wearing. What have I been wearing? I've been wearing stretch pants the last. I don't even want to try on my jeans at this point with the button.
My wife and I, Jill and I, look at each other sometimes. I'll come out. She goes, we got the same color sweatshirt on and the same top. She goes, look how crazy we are. And, it's a pandemic. Come on.
It is. And crazy. Jill, let me tell you something. And you speak so beautifully and highly and lovingly about your wife. Oh. And just like my husband's a lucky man, you're a lucky man too.
Yeah, Bobby, how much toilet paper do you use? What, you use your whole arm? Do you wrap your arm? Honey, I just want to be sure. Oh.
I'll tell you something, that's hysterical because I told you, I'm my second, and you have to remember, when he lived alone, he didn't buy too much toilet paper, right? You only have one ass to wipe, right? Okay. Well, I move in with my daughter and we're shopping and I'm like, we need toilet paper. And I'm used to buying toilet paper. And he's like, what do we need all this toilet paper for? I said, because you're going, now you got 2 vaginas and 3 asses. You need more toilet paper in the house. Like, what are you thinking? So thank God I got, hoarders that are like stocking up like everybody else. But, I got my spare 8 rolls in the basement when we need.
I know.
It's crazy. So I have to say to you, in all of your 40 years of doing comedy, yes. I know I don't want to put you on the spot, but I mean, you have a favorite place to perform or someone that you like to open, for, or is there, no. You've been all over. I mean, you've been all over. I don't think, is there anything that you haven't done that you want to do or perform, a place that you've never done?
No, I think when it came, everybody that I worked with, for example, I was at Catch a Rising Star doing my little sets. And then all of a sudden an older man came and handed me a card and he said, have your agent give me a call. I went, you mean my parents? Fooling around. I didn't have an agent. I had agencies talking to me, agents. Right. And I brought it over to this guy from ICM. And I said, hey, this guy asked me, if you want, can you call him up for me? He goes, do you know who this is? I go, no, old man, nice guy. He seemed like he goes, that's Cher and Frank Sinatra's manager. And I go, really? So I went on an 84 city tour with Cher the following week. It started.
Amazing.
And I remember that. But she taught me, each one of them taught me something. Cher, she held hands before each show. That's why today when I was talking to comics, I go, do you have anything you do beforehand?
Like a ritual before they hit the
stage? But I used to see Cher and I'd be in there too. They'd all hold hands and say a prayer to help everyone and entertain. I remember one time I was Julio Iglesias, great guy.
Oh, let's tell that story. Did we find out how important a sound check is?
Oh, you remember? That was then. Yes. That taught me a lot. Bubby, please come here, Bubby. And he was getting a girl cutting his hair before a show. Yeah. And I go, yeah, Julio, what's up? He goes, Bobby, when these people come in, they pay good money. He goes, and they come to see me and you. He goes, and I don't want to shortchange them. And you didn't go for a sound check. Right. And the sound was cracking,
You weren't liking the way it sounded, right?
I didn't like the way it sounded. He didn't like, and he wanted me to know that that's just important. So every time I work in all my theaters, I do a sound check.
Well, you also mentioned that you didn't consider yourself a star, and that stars do sound checks. But you know what? You are a freaking star. Put yourself out there. Are you kidding me? I'll say it.
Thank you. But I learned a lot. And Sinatra, oh, God.
Well, the stories you can tell, I'm sure.
And, all of a sudden they called me up. I had 3 weeks off. They go, hey, listen, the guy that opens for Frank Sinatra, would you open for him for 3 weeks? I'm still a New Yorker. It's show business. I go, how much? And they told me, I go, yeah, I'll do that. They flew me to Salt Lake City immediately. And the guy, Jilly, his big guy, 6'6". Yes. All right, don't call him Frank. It's Mr. Sinatra. Don't do that. Don't talk to him unless he talks to you. I'm like, oh, and you're Italian like my wife. You love Frank Sinatra. So I get in there. There's people answering. All the people are named after parts of the body. This is Bobby. This is Joey the arm. This is Tony the foot. I missed the foot. I missed the arm. I'm like, where the fuck am I? And then next thing you know, the phone rang right next to him. He picked it up. They all stopped because he never picks. And I'm hearing the guy says, "Can you send the substar down for a sound check?" And he went, "He's a fucking comedian. Just put the power on." And he hung up and he looked over at me. He goes, "You okay with that?" I went, "No problem. We're good. Good. No problem." True story.
Oh my God, that's great.
Wow. I know.
Oh my God. So yeah, we were talking before we went on, and basically, look, this pandemic's going on, and this is your livelihood. I mean, you've been doing this a long time, and you mentioned that you had 26 shows canceled. You had 26 shows booked in 4 months.
I know.
And that they canceled. And hopefully, we were talking about rescheduling shows because I want to give a shout out, if you don't mind. Some people watching. My friend Bill McAndrew is watching, and Steve Vaccaro, who's the producer of That Boy, a Yankee Miracle, which I'm part of.
Oh, wow.
Watching, and Mike Dempsey's very involved in that too. And we've got Marianne Boom Boom Mazzano with the Italian Chicks. And a big shout out to Karen Jones, who's your biggest fan. She's got all your DVDs.
Hi, Karen.
Yeah, she's in Florida. She saw you down in Florida. And, we're all trying to reschedule shows now. That's what we're trying to do. Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about that, and how, like the comics, we used to, $100 here, $250 here, like that when we started. What are those guys doing now? They need the money. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we were all in that boat. And then I'm starting to say, thank God my phone's ringing. Today I got 2 theaters called up in your area. Well, in Jersey, Bergen Pack Center and Morris Center for the Arts.
The Italian Chicks are going to be there too. We're going to be there.
And they put it on. I wrote it down. I go, thank you so much. And
write it down.
But it's for October, November, December.
Right.
So until then, help.
Yeah, I know. But let's talk real quick. I mean, we're going to, you know what? Let's take the last break from my sponsor. Okay. When we come back, we're going to talk about your podcast, who you're having on, and how people can find you. So don't go away, anybody. We're going to be back with Bobby Collins.
Today's show is brought to you in part by Tavolo Kitchen and Pizza, located at 1919 Wantaw Avenue in Wantaw. Hey, there's something for every night of the week. Tuesdays, pasta night. Wine Wednesdays. Friday, live music from 7 to 10. Sunday, brunch. So check them out at 516-308-4892 or www.tavolokitchen.com. They're also on Instagram. They do catering and private parties. So where do you want to go tonight?
Are you bored?
Oh my God!
Hold on tight. We're gonna coast this.
Let me know, Bobby.
You're good.
We're good. I am so excited. You know what happens when I get excited, Bobby? My nipples get hard. Did you know that? First of all, before I forget and go any further, because we only have 10 minutes left. Do you see how fast this goes?
Like
First
that.
Of all, I want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Thank you for doing this for me.
No, thank you.
Listen, you could have said no. Who the frick? You know what I mean? But like I said, I don't want to thank Mike Dempsey for connecting us. And I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for doing this, because this was my dream come true, to have you on, to read your book, to get to meet you and know you. You're like freaking like a cousin of mine who kind of went away for a little bit and then he came back. You know what I mean? He almost said he had to travel for work.
Yeah, anyway, right.
So let's get into you and what you're doing. So I want to talk about your book. I want everyone to get your book called On the Inside. Okay.
BobbyCollins.com. You can go on my thing if you want to. We sent out 9 today.
BobbyCollins.com. Go and buy this book. You won't regret it. I swear to God, I couldn't put it down. And it made me laugh. It made me cry. It made me chuckle. It was so freaking. I'm going to read it twice. I can't.
Thank you, Theresa.
Okay, so BobbyCollins.com. That's where you have to go for the book. Okay, in the meantime, let's talk about what you're doing during this quarantine. It's like being arrested without the ankle monitor on your ankle. But you are actually in the middle of writing another book, okay, which is great. But I want to talk about your podcast, okay? It's Bobby's Viral Friends.com. And you can see it every Wednesday. You tape the show. Right. You don't do live, but you've had on Colin Quinn and George Wallace, and come on, throw those names out, baby.
They're all coming on, from Jerry Seinfeld to Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle.
Chappelle. I mean, listen to me. These are heavy friggin' hitters. You know,
No, they're not. They're all good guys.
They're in the major leagues. Listen, Seinfeld, I grew up in Bayside, Queens, and I was always at Jimmy's Comedy Alley.
The bowling alley.
Yes, in Bayside.
Downstairs, and Linda ran it, his daughter.
Yes. Because it was right around the corner from my house, so I was there a lot. I saw Dice there for the first time. I saw Seinfeld there for the first time. And when I did, in the early 90s, when I did the comic strip, I was just about to go up. I was new. So, it was like early in the morning, like maybe 1 a.m. I'm just about to go up. I'm dying to go up. Who walks in and I get bumped, which I don't care. I'll get bumped for him any day of the week. Chris Rock.
Oh, Chris is a nut.
And back then he did a bit. When you have him on your show, ask him about the bit back in the 90s. He did a bit on Star 69. Remember when you could Star 69 people and see who hung up on your ass? You called them back? Yeah, he did a whole bit on that. I'll never forget because he bumped me that night. So you have Seinfeld and Dave Chappelle and Chris Rock. You had Colin Quinn, George Wallace. How many have you done so far?
We only did 3.
All right. Okay. That's not
only did 3. You know what happened? I did these videos with my daughter. She said, Dad, what do you want? I go, I want to do some videos. 10, 40, 50-second videos.
I posted 2 of them. I posted the one of you with no pants, and then I posted the one of you on the rowing machine. And as you're coming forward, I think you're supposed to be drinking a healthy smoothie. Is that what it's supposed to be?
No, it was a glass of wine.
Oh!
My wife, Jill's a Pilates instructor. But I did a few of these, from the Tiger King to all this foolishness. And I couldn't believe, Theresa, the response around the country. I mean, we're talking about over 100,000. So I got a couple of calls from people, and they go, Bobby, would you be interested in a podcast? I went, no. And they go, why not? I go, because I don't want to ask people questions. So where'd you grow up? What did you do? You're good at it. You're a natural. But I don't want to do that. I hosted VH1 stand-up spot. I hope, but I didn't want to do it. And then I
have that here that you did host that show. Yeah.
And then they said, would you like to do stand-up comedy? I go, no, there's no audience. You can't do stand-up. I see guys trying, and they go, what would you do? I go, I would do what you call a visual with comics, 2 or 3 comics, as if we're sitting in a green room like we're doing now, and laughing, talking about life, because that world out there is very different than our wonderful world.
Absolutely.
So he said, let's do it. So we've done the 3rd one, and it's been building huge. Thank God.
That's great. That's great. And you know what? You've known these comics for so many years.
Oh, I know their stories.
You do. You got some dirt on them. You do.
And they on me.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And they, and they're there for you again. They know that you have a special place in your heart for the Zeno Mountain Farm in Vermont.
Right.
And listen, what's nice is we're so blessed to do what we're able to do. I'm nowhere near where you are, but I wake up every morning and I say, thank you, God, for giving me another day. That's how I start my day.
You're getting there.
I'm getting there. And you know what? Like I said, he don't want me yet. So I know he's got a plan. He's in the driver's seat. You know what I'm saying?
God first, family second, career third.
Yes.
One ahead of the other. You always got to get on where you got off.
And that's what you put in the book also. Right. You're right. It's God, family, and then career, because someone had asked you to work on Christmas Day and you're like, no. No, I
don't do that. I don't do that.
No, there are certain things that you have to prioritize, and I think you got everything right. And I think that even the lessons, the life lessons that are in this book, seriously, I mean, because a lot of it's just street smart, common sense, good, wholesome values that I know I grew up with, and we try to instill them in our kids. We try, and then we set them free, and they do what they want, and they make their own mistakes, and they learn from them. But it's we want to save them, though. We want to save them from that, from the pain.
I was blown over because somebody said, would you write a book? And when I wrote it, I couldn't believe the response from parents, from professors, doctors. They go, I dropped that out of my thing about God. Not that I'm a Catholic, but I'm not Mr. Go to church boy.
Right.
There's been many times in my career that God tapped me on the shoulder and I had to listen.
When exactly did you write this book?
That was 3 years ago.
Because I was trying to look for the copyright on it, and I was like, how come I can't find the copyright on it? So you wrote this 3 years ago, and 2017.
We sold 276,000 copies.
Ooh, and go to bobbycollins.com to get yours. I loved it. I really loved it. Listen, Bobby, we have 2 minutes left. Is there anything you want to talk about? And I'm going to plug you one more time here.
Oh, no. Right? But if you get a chance, any of your listeners, they want to go to Bobby'sViralFriends.com. And we're promoting that. And I'm having a good time. And they're getting sponsors already and all this foolishness.
That's great. That's great. Yeah. So it's called Bobby'sViralFriends.com.
Right.
You can go to that on Wednesdays, right? Wednesdays.
No, any day. It's on YouTube, Instagram. It's up there now.
Oh, great. So it's all over the place. Everyone can see it. That's awesome.
Facebook.
And again, Facebook.
The Facebook.
How do you feel about comedians, really quickly? We only have like another minute, but how do you feel about comics who have taken off through social media?
Like I said in the book, the cream rises to the top. Shit floats for a while, then it sinks. There's a lot of shit out there.
Right.
And I'm not, I've gone into places or had guys open for me in different places, and I look and I watch them, and I'm so surprised that they don't see the audience. They don't look in.
You know what it is sometimes their content is weak, but they put the asses in the seats, and they have so many fans and followers, and that's what it's all about. Unfortunately,
again, I went over to.
It's a business, and we could keep talking about the business that you went into, and about getting sued, and oh my God, all these things that I want to talk to you about. But Bobby, listen to me, Bobby. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for doing this. Seriously, I want everyone to get the book On the Inside, BobbyCollins.com. Go to Facebook, watch his videos. Thank you, my friends, and I'll talk to you soon.
Theresa, you're the best. Thank you, sweetheart.
Thank you, Bobby. I love you. I'll
bye,
talk to you
baby.
soon. All right.
I don't even know how to get off it.